Hello, we're back here for part 3 of Blank Canvas, and I'm Ev Kleis. I've been painting this picture in part 1 and 2, and it's horses on a canvas. Obviously I'm using oil paints, and we're going to get just from the last you saw, I've painted in the blue horse in the middle. I'm going to try and get this one. He's going to be a little bit of a combination of the blues and some of the purpley colors, that alizarin crimson it's called. And then I'm going to try and block in and get more of the background. I'm going to keep it very abstract like this and lots of action and brush strokes. So I might be able to get it done this time. We're going to try. Okay, so I wanted, like I said, I've got some nice colors mixed here, and I'm going to use this. This is this gorgeous combination of the red with the alizarin crimson, and it's going to be kind of startling, I think, for a horse, but that's okay. And then I can tone it down with the burnt sienna. So that's what I'm going to start with on the third horse. And again, I've got a beautiful brush that works. It's the wide, long, and it is a number, I think they call it number 5. Brushes are numbered from the finer point from 1 to bigger numbers, and you need to have several because they behave so differently. Like, you can do different things with different brushes, and the more you use it and keep it in good shape, the more you would get adept at bending and getting around corners and that. I notice people starting out have a lot of trouble. They're kind of clumsy. Well, it's natural because you're not used to using it. It's like any tool. You get so that you bend your hand or your fingers or the brush, and you can make it perform better for what you want it to do. And that comes through practice and handling. So now we're going to come back to, like I said, I want to keep him in this other range so they're not all the same, obviously. I'm going to bring this leg down here and show this one. Like I said, I don't always put all the legs in if it becomes kind of a jumble, but I think with this picture we can have most of them showing. I've got to get a little bit higher value there, so I'm going to put this red again just to get it real zing here. In decorating, I've heard them say quite often they need a piece in the room that makes it pop. They want a pop, which means that it just grabs you. It has a real shot of color. And I think that's a little bit of a pop there with that red on his face. We'll try that. And again, I want these 3 values at least, from the darker to the lighter to a mid-tone value of these colors. So in order to get that one, I'm going to go back to the burnt sienna again for the middle and mix it with some of my raw sienna to get this in here. Yeah, there we go. So that kind of relates now back to that first horse, his colors. And we'll get this going up here, get this filled in here. I'm just going to do some true paint stroking here, just fill it right in. This one up to here, there, and I want a kind of a line there and here. So we see it like a pattern or a division. Again, to keep it in the way I started it with these sections of the anatomy of the horse, sort of following the shapes. This, I'm going to take part of that off when I do the background, because that chest comes out a little too far. So I can't do it right now until I get into the other color for the background. So we'll go back to here, we'll get this line in, outline that, foot comes down, the other leg there, and a nice darker line. That's not enough. Dark line down here. I mentioned earlier sometimes about like depending on the style and what you want to do as you paint, I like it to have some unexpected parts or some creative things that it isn't every single dot and line planned and perfect. I like to have that little sort of a, oh, what's that? Or the picture should, I think when you look at a painting, you want to have something there that isn't completely explained and clear, because then a person keeps looking at it. They'll look back at it, you come back to it. I find if I have something that's too specific and perfectly, everything is clear, 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 you may tend to not look at it again. You sort of want that little bit of room for some personal interpretation. And that's what, and I look at some of my own and interpret them, wonder what was happening that day. Anyway, that's where this, leaving some of this background not so clear, and some of the horse parts aren't completely realistic or filled in the way it would look in real life. But as I said at the beginning, we're making a painting. We're not trying to do construct an actual horse here. So now I like that little hint there of, it's a little bit lighter. It's kind of neat, so I've got to try and save that. Well, if I can't save it, I'll put it back in. There, I'm going to have that and then blend that a bit, just because that did get some definition of that muscle of the horse there. Okay, now stomach, we're going to fill that in. I'm just going to rub it in, take away, and this is where I can refine this line here of the blue of the outline of the horse. Isn't quite fine enough and nice enough, so I can correct that by, with the background, with this color coming around it, take off some of that line there. Fill that in, and then I'm going to get that little fine brush again. I want this to come down and keep a nice edge on the blue horse. So we're going to come back to this color, which is neat, bright. There, we've got that filled in. I like that bit of blue in there, so I'm going to come back to that, put my palette knife down so I don't get that all over everything. Where's my little one? This one? No, there's an even finer one. Get a nice thin line. Okay, we're going to put a little bit of that blue and purple. And so that way, I've brought from this horse over just a bit here. I'm going to make that his front line. We'll bring it to here, and this will come here. And then when I paint in, I can cover that up. But that, I think, helps to, I don't want it too strong, but a little bit. And it relates them back to the other. In this case, we'll put a, okay, that has to stay the other way we had it, because he's going up against the blue horse. And we'll get this line nice here, correct that, and fine. Use the edge or use the flat of your brush, whichever procedure or technique works for the part you're doing. I'm going to bring that in just a bit, so I'm using this edge and then down to here. Blend, blend, push, and pull. Here we go, up to this foot, or this leg. Oh, that's darker, that's good. And a bit here. Didn't get any paint on it. Okay. That's the other thing. If you're starting out painting, you do have to expect to waste a bit of paint and time. And not everything's going to turn out, so don't be afraid. Like I said, I buy the paint and use what I can. Don't be too stingy with it, in other words. Like, don't be afraid. You might put out some paint and can't use it all, but don't skimp on it. You need enough to make something happen. Okay, that's too much alone, that blue. I got to do something more here, because it doesn't quite work to be just that much blue only. So we got to either have more or take some of that out. So I'm going to bring some down here and put some, just a smidge up there, I think, on this neck. So it looks a bit more like related. And a bit more, down here. Still dark, but kind of coming up here. Okay. The horse's thigh kind of bends in here, so we get that shape maybe. We're going to have a kind of a streak. So some of it should be light patch against dark and dark against light rather than all. I don't want it all light. Okay, I got a nice warm there. Yeah, I want some of this darker over here. This can be quite rich dark. We're going to have it slanting off a bit. Those details, like up around his foot, I'll come back with a better brush, but this is the big scrubby brush. But I'm sort of trying to speed up here, and sometimes that's really good. A couple of classes and workshops I've taken, the instructor makes you have 15 minutes, get it finished. And then you stop thinking so much, you just get something on the paper, and it may not turn out to be great, but it does make you do that quick decision and get lots of practice using a brush and covering your surface. Because so often we do what I'm doing now, which looks like I'm just slapping in a background, but I had it, when I planned it at the beginning, I said it was going to be this background that kind of repeats the motions that are in the horse. So the horses are creating sort of this idea of movement, and that's what I'm putting in the background, not just like fill it up with a sky color or something. So clean that off a little bit, get this. I do want a bit of the lighter blue though, just a bit. Get the cerulean in here. And just so it isn't that baby blue, I'm going to put some of that lovely alizarin and mess it around in there too. There. And I want some more light, so I'll come back and get the lighter. So we're going to have this nice arch kind of across here. This can be smooth, no brush stroke showing. Oops, get that, and then we're going to have another kind of a shooting off here. There. And I want that smoother, so I have to take some of the paint thinner off because it'll keep showing those lines if I don't get it thicker paint. Some more down here, big chunks, big chunks. So I'm kind of painting up there and down here, and then try to balance it. I know I want this to be more rough to suggest growth or plant or rock or ground. Suggested at least. And then up here is going to be this sort of this arches of sky atmosphere. This, I still want that to go right off. It's as though it goes through here and up. So we got to get a definite line there and a little bit stronger there. Don't want, no, there's still too much on there. Okay, go back to some more paint. Less. There. And I like that little bit of blue peeking through. I might just leave that. Oh, that's dark and I didn't want it, but come back to here, cover that up again. We're going to run that right off and see. Yeah, I think that works, but I don't want it to be too much of an arch there, so I'm going to have to break it across somehow so we get something else happening here. Now I'll go back to that other brush, better edge. but I kind of want to keep that to look like that comes down to there. It goes behind this one, and I'm going to have it come back out again, following this and coming out here. And so get some more of that paint and fill that one in. Now that's going to be close to the horse color, so I've got to do a little bit of something to get it to change a bit here. Whoops, too dark, I don't like that. Okay, we got to go get a little bit lighter. That'll do it, okay, good enough. So that comes down, and I liked that yellow that was back there, but I'll put it back in, use a bit of this yellow going up. So we tie that yellow color back into the picture, otherwise it kind of gets separated too much. So let's see, we're just, see if we can, yeah, there we go. So that's that arch going that way. Now I'm going to get some yellow, and I think the yellow might work to have it here and here. So got to have a clean brush for that. Otherwise I'm starting to do what I said don't do, which gets muddy. Okay, and very soft, not too powerful. And get it down again. What have I got? Nope. Yeah, that'll work. Don't want it too defined, but that'll work. Okay, up in here. It's going to go across that way. Okay, so we got another arch that's coming that way. And again, I want to leave that line of the neck of the horse. So I've got to slow down, be careful. It's getting some green, which I didn't want up there. There we go. Cover that up. Still got a hint of green. That isn't white. Okay, here we go. This is going to do it. Nice, okay. Now, I kind of like that going there, and I maybe, because you can almost see it coming back over here on this horse. I don't know if I'm going to try it and just see. It might be too much. Sometimes you overdo a good thing. I sort of think it's a good thing, and I don't want to overdo it. So we just put a hint of that there. Get that nice line. We're just about going to make it, I think. Get this picture finished. Fingers always can come in handy too, just for a quick blend. Yeah, that works okay. Now I'll do that light purple in there, fill that up, that yellow's there. I'm going to bring some of this up over here, and we're just going to get there, by golly. Sort of like that suggests perhaps growth of something. We'll keep it kind of vague. Don't like that. Okay, go up in there. We're going to have some more of these. So if I do a few shapes that repeat that idea of the up and down of the legs, then it doesn't look so weird like we're missing a leg or two. But if I paint this in like this, a few of these marks, it'll suggest, as I said, growth, some kind of plant, organic growth maybe, or something. And also, then like I said, you don't sort of stop and say, oh, where's the other leg? Of a couple of those horses. So that's why I'm putting those marks in. But I want these shapes big like they are, big and loose. So let's get back to the other brush. Here it is. And I like that rich brown here. I'm going to put some more of that, bring it up a bit. So we're trying to get contrast and interest. Another teacher said one time, make all parts of your canvas interesting. Like so wherever you look, there should be something kind of interesting to see. If it isn't a thing, maybe at least a color change or a nice brush stroke or something that shows that you didn't just say, okay, I'm done with that, fill that corner in. But it should have some kind of, looks like you painted it all, in fact, not just did the main subject. There are paintings that are done, they're called a vignette, where you just have the face of something and then you have this nebulous nothing background. But if you're trying to make a real picture, then do the whole thing. Don't just scribble in the background. The vase of flowers with the sort of nothing else. Try to have maybe part of a wall or part of a table or something else that adds some interest that would be behind that vase of flowers, or puppy dog on the ground or something with a ball beside him or something to fill in the rest of it. So we're getting some more action here. Now this is pretty wild in here, so I would, I'll tone it down a bit more like some of that where it's smoother. I want to get, see, we're going to go in here. I like that drip. For the bottom here, that's going to work good because it runs off onto the table and it doesn't take away from the horses to let it just drip down like that. It gives some interest. So we do another one of those. Get this up here, and we're just about going to have her, as they say, just about got her done. Get her done, but we're going to just about get her done here. Okay, that goes there. Kind of a rough back, yeah. So now this white is what's jumping out at us, and whoa, it's too much. So I'm going to put the same color basically there, and it's going to be one of these neutral colors, and kind of not much happening to it. So I've got to mix a nice sort of a, not too dark. Let's see if we can do that, and get that in there. And we can wrap it up sort of. In fact, up here though, this can have a bit more, oh, even that can be that. That's a sort of a gray, nothing much. But I'll swoop this across again, because I want to keep those two sort of arches there. Okay, we're going to bring this down. I haven't finished the tail yet either. I think I will make it show as a tail, separate from being the background. So I'm going to bring that into there, and then I'm going to put the tail in. Whoopsie, there we go. Don't want that there. Okay, yeah. Now, the neutral color that I want to show there before we quite wrap it up here, it's going to be a nice neutral. Probably that one, yeah. Okay. Get that burnt sienna in there, or raw sienna this time, a little bit. And just, yeah, so it's not going to be much more color than that. And I'm going to have all of this that's white, we'll get that put into it so that it doesn't jump out at us. Now with the white, it really makes us, it draws us there because it's the highest contrast of color. I picked up a bit of that red there on my brush, which I didn't quite mean to, so I'll have to muck it in, kind of blend it in. There we go. There. So that's kind of what I'm going to do with this, all of these three sections under the horses. And this guy will get finished. He's going to have more blue there. And then that, I hope, kind of holds it together. And I think we're just about getting to what I would call almost finished. I would do a little bit of my details again, touch up, but when we get to this is kind of what I wanted to show. Oh, and this leg was too thick, so now's my chance. If I am careful, I can correct it by putting this background in and take off that thickness with the other color. There we go. Put that in there like that and smooth that out. So then I might even put a line there, again outline that leg a little bit, but I've narrowed it down so it wasn't quite as thick as it was when I drew it and painted it. Okay, rub that in there. I'll bring some of that up so it's just blended. And this guy along here, same thing. So we're just, that's how I'm going to finish it then. With that sort of a neutralized color back here, touch up this head and this again, so that we keep these streaks. I'll fill this in a bit more with that. Now I've pretty much got my background in, sort of kept those arches and marks in there. I'm just going to go back now. I didn't finish the tail. I do want it to show up. I'm going to start with and see what happens here. We're going to have some light and dark. And like I said, I kind of had divided it a bit too much, this color to this. So I'm going to try to join it up a little bit more. So I've got this. This is that lovely cadmium yellow medium with the raw sienna. So the tail is going to have that on it. And I want a little bit of an edge to it, so I'll use keep some of that dark shadow right in there on purpose. And then bring it down here. And I'm going to come back. I've got too much on there, so let's just see, because the paint's quite thick there. That's when it's harder to work back into paint, is if it's really thick. You have to kind of slide it on because the brush will start to mix it in right away. But if we lay it kind of on top without blending it too much, we can get some of that to work. And I wanted, as I said, to bring it back so that this relates back to the rest of the horse a bit. So I'm going to take some of the color and mix it with a bit of that, so they're connected, related, mixed together like relatives. They're going to be bringing that a little bit lighter and just get a bit of that, because I felt that was too much of a division. Get this is to steady it. And again, I don't mind if it blends a bit, but at least it lightens it a little. So it isn't quite such a different color there. And now I'm going to put that dark bit in his tail, put those lines in that I mentioned. Oh, here it is, right here. Okay, darker color there and across there, a little bit there, and along his rump here, and then the tail comes out like this. And we need that again a little darker. There, that's what I want. The dark edge. And one more there. And one more here. And I think his tail to be done. And his rump here. There. And I think that's pretty much, oops, we have a little bit of blue head done. Not done. Should we do that? Get that one in there. And then that's finished. That purpley blue, because I didn't mean to leave that white. So put that lovely cerulean blue, touch it up again here. There we go. I just want to put that last line. There were a couple of little bits in the horse's head I didn't do, and then I would do the eyes after the painting has dried for a few days, because they're more fine and I can't get the precision while the paint's so wet. So I would say that's a finished picture, and I've enjoyed doing this for blank canvas. It's been a really fun time, and as I said, usually an artist, I usually wait a day or two and then I sign it. I know it's finished then. So thanks a lot. It's been a fun time painting with you.